All right, guys, what's up? Thank you for clicking on the video. So I'm here with Lace, and I kind of brought her into this because I want to update about the headlights and the bezels, and I feel like people just respond better to her. I send her into restaurants sometimes. I send her in to get us a seat because I think people just don't like me. So when I explain something, sometimes I feel like she explains it better. So I'm not gonna try and drag this out. I'm gonna release kind of a longer form deal ahead. But for the moment, I just wanted to kind of highlight the issues with the headlights, where we are, what your timeline will be expected to be kind of ahead, and then the bezels. We're going to kind of talk about the bezels real quick. So stick around. You're watching KnightDriveTV. So basically, brief, I guess, recap. Do I recap?
I guess it could be a recap.
Real quick recap. You know, we've been making these lights for 2.5 years. We've always kind of been in back order to some degree because the supply issues, obviously C19 stuff, and so we've always kind of been in some state of back order, but we've shipped fairly consistently, wouldn't you say? And she boxes a lot of these things, like so.
Box them all.
Yeah, she boxes them all. So, and it's a kind of a process. So she knows she's been in that routine for quite some time. So we've always consistently shipped, like, you know, what, 40 to 50.
Upwards to 60 even a week,
right.
Yeah.
So we've always been there, and the company that supplied me the light pods, they've been working with us for the whole time, basically. They were one of the first suppliers that I had in early 2021, and you know, we've had some issues with them, but we've progressed the kit, we evolved the wiring, we made updates. They really were, for the most part, a pretty valued like partner, I guess you could say. In late 2022, going into Christmas, there was a rush before this thing that's called like a Chinese New Year. We saw some quality issues. Things were kind of coming up, and going into 23, I really wanted to get into stock. You know, I was tired of being in back order all the time, and I felt like that company was always keeping me. Remember, we were fighting.
Yeah, I felt like, yeah, it was just kind of every time we'd just run out of lights, it was like we'd just get another shipment in, literally right in time.
Yeah, barely, every time. So, you know, it was like I really wanted to get in make to stock, as they say, in 2023. And so Kelsey, who you may have seen on the channel, she's the one that assembles all the lights. She was going away to Italy in May, and then she was getting this breast augmentation surgery. So we refer to it as Tiddly, the Tiddly event. And I knew she was going to be away for some time. So I said, look, let's just get ahead. And so I really pressured that supplier. You know, I'm like, look, you guys got to step up. You got to send me more lights. And they said, okay. They didn't want to lose the business. So they were shipping more lights. We were getting them faster, getting a lot of lights, and I felt good about it. I'm like, thank God we can finally get ahead. She goes away to Italy. We did get ahead, and we were in stock, right?
Yeah, we were in stock. So
we felt good about it. We mark all the batches. Every batch of lights that comes in, we color code them. And that way, if there's any issue with a particular batch, we have a color code, and we know what lights were in that batch. And so that's something we've always done. So basically, as Kelsey built all the light kits, she came back from the surgery and everything, recovered from that. And that's Volk walking around. If you hear clickety clack, and that's his nails on the floor. But go lay down. Go lay down. Go. Go.
He's just an old man these days.
Yeah, he's old. So basically, you know, she had built a bunch of lights, and then when she came back in June, I would say, we had gotten a message from a customer, and he said, my lights look purple. I really didn't think it was legit because, you know, it was, you never can know about certain things. You know, people's eyes are different, camera, I don't know. But, you know, I thought maybe it was a voltage issue, something like that. We ended up figuring out that these lights that we were shipping at that moment had this purple hue to them. You know, I did some investigating, and I approached the company. I said, hey, you know, I got customers saying these lights are purple. And so we started opening these boxes of batches that I had. I had about maybe $15,000 to $17,000 of lights, I think it was, at that point, that we had not opened, batches unopened, and that we had just broken into. And I was checking the batches, and they were all purple. And so I went to the rep, and I'm like, what is this? What did y'all do? You know, they were trying to accelerate things. And she said, well, we were running low on LED supply, And so we thought you wouldn't notice. So, I'm like, well, clearly I noticed. My customers noticed. So now what are we going to do? So we went round and round with them. This is the recap, obviously. Went round and round with them. They quickly just ghosted out,
Yep.
So they didn't want to refund me. I only have a zone of time that I can basically file a claim, and that time expired. So that's, $15,000, $17,000 gone. So I had another supplier from 2022. They had sent some lights before, and I kind of got them on board and said, can you make these lights? I sent them samples, right? Samples to China. Did you ship those?
Yeah.
The China samples?
Yeah.
You remember that the address is crazy in China. So
It's always crazy.
you got to have a resident ID. It ended up getting stuck in Chinese customs for 3 weeks. And so they ended up getting them, but I'm like, at least I have a sample in hand. There's no doubt as to what, they need to build. They had sent me the lights themselves before, so it was really just about the wiring. And I said, look, I just need what you make needs to plug into my sample, which was an aged sample. That way, if somebody has a replacement need, I have, lights with a current supplier with the wiring that will plug into the harness that you already have if you have a kit out there. So they said, no problem. So they kept extending this 7 to 10 days, 7 to 10 days. This turned into like all through August, into September, and I'm telling everybody.
It was ridiculous because when you're told, like when we're told 7 to 10 days and that alters our timeline to you guys, then that just really, it's like a domino effect that just kept happening. So.
Right. So it's, it's one of them things. I talked to them and I'm like, let's just get it done. And I kept pressuring them. I didn't want to put too much pressure to where it, I feel like the pressure cost me with the other company. So I'm like, look, just get it right. I did point out to them in some photos. I said, this certain aspects of your lights don't look correct. Can you fix it, change it? And they said, yes, got it. And lo and behold, they shipped this huge batch of lights and they mislabeled the codes. They did just so many things wrong. And I was really getting concerned, but into September, I was telling you guys, look, I do have lights coming, which I did, and you can see here. We've got tons of lights still in boxes, and I'm not even going to unbox. I've told this company, we took out samples, and just lo and behold, they were just garbage. And she's seen the beams, and looked at the lower mountings. Yeah.
They were nothing. They kept telling us like exact, and they're like, yes, they're identical, they're the same, and we get them, and sadly, they're not. So. Yeah. Round 2.
Well, that was round 2 technically, so it's round 3. And as this was happening, again, I had thought, I can't trust this, because you guys were ordering, and at first I'm like extending the back order time frame, and we can build a lot of kits. We have 400 and some kits already built up there. There's no question that we will fill these orders 100%. We have before. Obviously many times. So
brackets are ready to go. We're just waiting on the lights, and at this point, Kelsey is going to keep me busy in shipping.
Right. So but the community can vouch. We when we started the company, obviously there was a ton of orders. We delivered all that stuff. Some people were just the scammers, the stuff that people face. They think, what's going to happen? And
we get that. It's just, I think, a part of today's marketplace. There's just a lot of scammers out there, but we will deliver. We always do.
Kelsey works every day.
Yeah.
She's here every day. She's still building kits. So inevitably what I knew I had to do was find another supplier, and I had already been talking to yet another one as a backup plan, and they have sent samples. She saw the samples.
They're fantastic.
The lights are better than potentially any light that we've had ever. So that's inspiring to me. The cutoff is very good. The light is clean. It's white. The castings are good. They feel like they're supposed to. So all it comes down to is the wiring. And so, what I was worried about is like, God, I hope I don't have to ship samples again. But so inevitably I contacted this company. The beams are good from these new lights. The castings match. They have to make the wiring. So I actually went to this company that sent me this bogus stuff. And I said, look, y'all messed up. I don't care, because they do supply me the relays. I don't want to burn the relationship. I said, I'm just going to eat it. Can you just send my samples that I sent you over to this address, which is in the same city? And they actually sent it. So it saved
that was
a lot
a time saver.
Right.
I guess they didn't have to do that, considering it's like a competitive type of company.
Which worried me.
Yeah, it was a worry, but absolutely amazing that they did that.
Yeah, so she actually did send it, and they received it very quickly. They've tested it already. They said that they're good. So I've been actually communicating with that woman for the past, I'd say, week. they've got the samples in hand. We got their samples. So everything is fine. As far as lights goes, I strongly believe the worst case scenario is that we're going to get into something to where if they can't find the exact matching plugs, then some of you who need replacements, it may come down to me sending you 3 lights instead of just one individual replacement. But luckily, we've had very few issues with lights. For anybody that has kits, we've had very few burnouts. Honestly, they've been extremely reliable. So, you know, if that's the worst case, you know, then so be it. But otherwise, everybody that gets new lights should be fine. So, you know, where that leaves us is we just have to get them to confirm they'll make the wiring, source the plugs, and then a timeline. So I suspect my goal and what I want you guys to be on board with, I hope, is just let's just wrap this up by the end of the year. That's where my goal is in my mind. I think we'll have lights soon. So
we're gonna be busy. I mean, once they get here, I mean, we're gonna be on it for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, get them delivered, get them on it. So.
But you know, as just me, her, and Kelsey, you know, in this house, I mean,
literally small business.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've developed and we put out over 3,500, I think it is. I don't know the exact number. I'll say 3,200 light kits safely out of our house.
It's a lot.
And in 2.5 years, which, you know, I mean, I think that's a testament to the fact that, you know, you see some people doing these custom lights, they can't barely make 1 a month, you know, 2 a month. We've gotten to the point we make 60 a week. And now that half the kits are done, once the lights come, Kelsey believes she could do 30 a day. So that is rough for her on foam, and that's not going to be fun. But, you know, Kelsey would probably help her or something. We can figure something out. But my thing is just, you know, you waited this long. And what I tell people is, like, just hang in there. It's a small company. I tried to fill a niche in the market and provide products for these C5s and C6s. And if you guys have seen the Max 10s, I'm trying to do things that nobody was willing to step up and do, but it's a battle when it comes to this supply, and you have to deal with China. There's no way you can't. You're watching me on a Chinese TV. You got Chinese clothes on. You lay in a Chinese bed at night. I mean, this is the reality. We can't do the made in America thing across the board. Corvettes aren't made in America 100%. F-150s aren't made in America 100%.
If we could, we would, but
Sure.
I mean, cost effective and time, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's assembled in America. It's quality controlled in America. Obviously, I see the oversee the entire thing. So, and we're providing jobs. Kelsey's got a job. You know, she's part of it. You know, it's a job for me. So, obviously, you know, what I'm just asking is just please hang in there. I mean, you know, it's under control. We're in no financial jeopardy. I mean, we're everything is managed very well, and I keep the company with a lot of margin and things like that to be sure that I can handle all this. And so there's no problems here whatsoever. Some people are messaging me like, I'm just not comfortable waiting. You know, they're getting paranoid.
I mean, I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, shipping times I've noticed for a lot of things, even in my industry outside of this, I mean, everything is like almost, I don't want to say halted, but it's slow. Right. It's very slow. And I mean, this is kind of out of our hands. I mean, the fact that we got these, you know, junk lights in a sense really is what set us back. I mean, if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be here. But I mean, we will deliver. I mean, if you know any of like the people that are, you could say OG buyers of like the original, I mean, they waited a long time. I mean, it was kind of almost like a Kickstarter type of thing.
Yeah.
So,
but we closed all that out, you know what I mean? And obviously, you know, some people through Instagram and people that aren't familiar with the channel, don't watch, don't care. You know, they've just, some girlfriends that have bought for their boyfriends don't know anything about me. They're just like, oh, I'm getting robbed, you know, just refund me. I mean, yeah, I mean, I just think they just don't know as much about the business. They have like a disconnect, you know, their husband wants them or whatever. Okay, I'll order them. But then they're like in the middle, I think maybe, and maybe the guy's yelling at her, where's my lights? You know? I don't know, you know, it's. I
mean, we have a lot of people that kind of become this like weird, like distant family friend. Like they're very kind of, you know, interactive with us, whether it's online, YouTube, you know, anything like that. It's like they know because they've watched from the beginning who we are, what we've done, where we're at now. And then you have the people that see the lights on a car, think it's cool, get the website, and you know, we'd like to hope that they would watch the channel and kind of like learn about us. You know, the channel's been at a halt, I know, for a month at this point, maybe a little over. But I mean, we're busy behind the scenes, and it's like, we know you guys like updates, but
Yeah.
it's hard when we're trying to, like, shuffle some of this stuff around and figure out, what's next. And him working with suppliers and answering emails and dealing with everybody else, it is so incredibly time consuming that creating these videos, I mean, as much as he loves videos and making all this stuff, I mean, I will say his customer service is what takes up the bulk of the time.
Yeah. And I mean, and I understand, like I said, people are waiting on things, and fraud is rampant, and we've been targeted by African scammers, and I've been targeted by domestic scammers, and I mean, I have videos coming out about that. I've tried to put out scam videos to help, educate car guys to identify this stuff, but I get that the scams and frauds, it's really rampant, but I really encourage people to look at the background of the company and how many people will vouch for me. That this isn't, I don't want to say it's not that long of a back order, but some people, they'll point out in the beginning, I mean, some of those guys waited 6, 7, 8 months, because that was very difficult back in the C19 thick of it.
Supply was rough.
Right now, the oldest orders, I think that we have right now are maybe sitting at 12 weeks, and you guys might be looking at 4 more weeks, I would say, for them to make the lights, ship them, get through customs, get here, us make them, box them. I mean, that's kind of my target, late November, early December. So how that impacts the bezels is, my concern with the bezels became, because this kind of all was developing at the same time, the bezels will get done for all the squares and rounds, obviously, but my worry and my concern at the moment, my contingency plan was, if I can't get, which we have gotten, but if I couldn't get lights, and that company being out was going to kind of change the course of where I was going to go, I was going to redesign another light kit for all the existing customers to say, if you're interested in this, I'll send you this. If that were the case, then I would need to make another bezel, do rescans and stuff like that. So I really kind of backburnered the bezels in trying to just keep everything going right now, do this damage control, and keep the business running as it is. So basically, all the bezel stuff, my objective, because we're, like I tell her, by the end of the year, I just want to have all this cleared off the plate so we can focus on 2024 on new products. And so for everybody that's, basically the way I'm going to do it, everybody that ordered that's waiting up until the day we get lights in the building, I'm going to pull all of you guys, and we're going to do some giveaways just to thank you for waiting and stuff like that.
It's a pretty serious giveaway, guys.
Yeah. So, I am making the C5 Max-Ins. They're going to be, they're pricey because it's a very complex unit. I'm going to give away 2 of those. So, I think we're going to have about 300 orders to fill. So, that's good. That's good odds. You know what I mean? If you hang in there, just have faith. We're going to get it done. I'm going to give away some Max-Ins, and I have some carbon parts and stuff, and we're going to do some giveaways.
Now,
so
speaking of the C5 Max-Ins, I know I've had a couple messages on my Instagram asking the timeline of how you feel where we're at on when will the pre-buy be, or when they will potentially be available.
I mean, I'll release a video about that, but I mean, we have the prototypes going to be released at SEMA, and well, I've shown prototypes on the channel. I mean, we have a new prototype. I've been revising how it blends into the console. We had some people complaining about that. I think we're at the stage where as good as we're going to get. It's gonna be, I don't want to say a take it or leave it, but there's only so much you can do shy of redesigning the entire console. But this is for another video. I mean, I just think that the point is, we expect the first 30 beta selected testers to have their units by the end of the year. So I'm just kind of got to look at the prototype that we have now, and then get that in the car, get past SEMA, and then throughout November, we're going to chat about this and probably get our first 30. So maybe a full release before the end of the year. I don't know, but overall, just hang in there, guys. I mean, everybody's ordered bezels, lights, everything. Totally appreciate it. And if you really can't stand it anymore, I'll refund you. You know what I mean? If you want to go, I'm not here to hold anybody, but at the same time, the more people that refund and bombard me with that, it just makes it harder for, I think, the overall system. So it's just kind of like everybody just got to stick together, and we'll just get it done. So
they are coming, and it's worth it. And I do see a lot of people on there, like on Instagram, even asking about it, and then other original kind of like buyers responding to them, like it's worth the wait. And those are coming from buyers. That's not coming from us. I mean, we can say all the time, like they are worth the wait. I personally think they are, but coming from, I have, like we said, customers responding to everybody else, like they're worth the wait, just hold it out. I mean, that speaks to me volumes, honestly.
Yeah. So the blessing in disguise, you know, as I always think, is just going with a new supplier. I mean, I'm hoping they have a reset excitement for working with me and the volume that I purchase. And they did also get the RGB samples, which I've had for some time. The prior company, they were the ones helping me develop the RGBs, and we could just never get to the point of being able to control them all and also be able to modularly replace them, because that's always the issue. If one burns out, I don't want to have to replace a whole thing. All these custom tail lights and all this stuff people build, if one thing goes wrong, if one LED goes out, the whole thing's junk.
Tree effect.
So, you know, I can't have that. I want each light to be replaceable, so that means they have to all communicate in a manner that, you know, there's a central controller and things. So this company thinks they can do it. So, you know, we'll get past this, and this is going to be fine. And I really want to get to releasing more content. We've got all kind of things ahead that we want to do. So sub to the channel and leave a comment, you know, but just small business guys. I'm not Amazon, I'm not Walmart, like, you know, nowhere near that. We're just working here all the time trying to get the stuff done. So Lace vouches, you know, I had to bring her on here.
It's all the time. I mean, we literally...
Everybody likes Lace. So
it's funny because...
If she tells you it's coming, it's coming.
It's coming. I mean, we kind of laugh because we always say we've kind of become boring people in a way. We don't do anything because business has just come first for us. So that's just where we're at.
Yeah, but I totally appreciate it. So got a lot of content coming out, guys, but that's it for the update. I hope you're cool with it. I appreciate your patience and all that stuff, and we'll catch you on the next one.